Hi, my name is Andrew Just from the ForecastBuilder team, giving you a presentation on the science and technology changes that are accompanying this April 2017 tech order. So the first change of note you will see is with the cron population time. We've had some issues still with ISC traffic, and so we're going to try to alleviate that using different times. So for the Eastern Time Zone and Great Lakes sites, nothing's going to change. You're still populate at 5:30Z and 17:30Z. However, for the rest of Central Time, you'll have the banner will say you've got 10 minutes until the cron is going to run, and so at 5:35 and 17:35. And similarly, for mountain time, the banner will say will run in 15 minutes, meaning 5:40Z and 17:40Z. One of the changes that's starting right here at the beginning of April is a change to the Super Blend Pop. In January, if you recall, there was a technique added named NPOP or Neighborhood Pop, in this case for where there's greater than or equal to 0.03 inches of QPF. This was added to the Super Blend to help with the low bias and wintry precipitation. However, here at April 1st, this is going to end. And it's on purpose because of two reasons. The first is that there's a concern that the neighborhood pop could be too high for convective precipitation, and that previous verification suggests that for convective precipitation, the pop from QPF curve that was in place and really still is, just this neighborhood pop is applied on top of it. Well, with that neighborhood pop going away, we're just going to use this pop from QPF curve. And again, for convective precipitation, that was fairly reliable. Now, this CRGMAT team is evaluating feedback from the ForecastBuilder testbed offices to see if this neighborhood pop should be reinstated for the warm season. And we'll also look at verification. Accompanying also this tech order will be a new dataset called NBM EXP. And what this is the experimental version 3.0. That 0.0 is important because there are other versions already in development, like 3.1, for example, of National Blend. And this version 3 is expected to be released as the official National Blend in late June. Some new fields will be available to GFE, and these are important to kind of pay attention to. They include the 1 hour precipitation potential index, or PPI-01, PPI-06, or the 6 hour precipitation potential index, and kind of similarly here, the QPF-01, the 1 hour QPF, and QPF-06, 6 hour QPF. There's also cloud-based primary and visibility grids. Please look at these fields and provide feedback to nws.forecastbuilder@noaa.gov. More fields are set to come, such as environment grids like max TW aloft and prob ice present, those top-down grids, as well as the conditional probability types for probability rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. And remember that the IRMA is the ground truth and also used for bias correction in NBM. So if there's issues with IRMA, they'll propagate into the National Blend models. Thunder. Back in the January 2017 tech order, the thunder grids from the SREF and GLAMP and MOSCAI were added, but there was no really capability of viewing them within GFE. For this tech order, you will be able to view them when you go into the non-precipitation type step. They will be loaded there right for you automatically, and so you can see what those values are through time. Additionally, the probability of severe will be present with that as well. And also a change here is that in the non-precipitation type GUI, the option for POT severe will now bring in the SPC SREF probabilities. And a reminder that when those values exceed 30%, you'll get the T plus in your weather grid. Obviously, if you have a convective watch in place, you'll get a T plus as well. Well, more on thunder probabilities. I know there's been a few comments about this already, but expect the values to be lower because these thunder probabilities are calibrated. And it is possible we may have to adjust to these as a culture to have lower probabilities for thunder. And something to think about here is consider how often, do you really have numerous thunderstorms spread out over a 3 to 6 hour period? I know we've kind of done that in the past, so this could be something that's needs a change. But please, provide feedback on this if you start to look at maybe the exact lightning data and it did seem like those probabilities were too low. Again, the forecast builder team will be monitoring. And it could be a positive for aviation. Remember that Directive 10813, the aviation one for TAFs, wants at least a VCTS in the TAF when the thunder probability is greater than or equal to likely. They reference 60%, but basically get the point here. And so, this should help, I would think, reduce the amount of thunder, or at least the VCTS or TS in the TAF. A new item also accompanying this tech order is something called ForecastBuilder. It's a procedure that will improve situational awareness of potential hazardous conditions in the forecast via a highlighting process. And I'll show you some examples here in a minute. The colors rank the concern from low to high. For example, here, if you get a yellow color, it's sort of an elevated concern. You get to orange, and you could kind of start thinking about advisory type level. The red would be a warning, and purple would be just really bad. And that color ranking mainly based on existing WWA criteria in directives. The procedure is automatic. It runs as part of two things. With the normal ForecastBuilder cron population, it goes all the way out from that period 3 through day 7 check-in, and it also runs as part of the weather creation step in ForecastBuilder. There's other things that are grabbed too with ForecastBuilder, like the SPC convective outlooks and some of the excessive rain outlook, stuff like that. You can see this output in the foundation grid step of ForecastBuilder. Now, when these grids pop up, do not edit them because they're just going to get automatically updated by what's in the forecast. And there'll be more to come on ForecastBuilder from the Central Region IDSS team. In the interim, we could just use this time to get acclimated to the output. Here's an example. So when you get into your foundation grid step, this is the way your GFE will look. You'll have your normal grids show up, like temperature, dew point, max T, min T, etc. And then at the bottom will be all your ForecastBuilder grids. And notice all the different colors here. Again, those are the different colors of issue. And frost freeze is up here. I've left it there displaying for the month of March just to just to show you all the different colors that can appear. And you notice immediately these colors help draw your attention to both potential hazards and as well as the periods of forecast concern. So you could not only as an SA display, but you could kind of think of it as something to help with targets of opportunity. Here's sort of a list, or here's a listing of all the ForecastBuilder grids that exist in your GFE. And then on the right is an example. This is from an ice storm case down in the Springfield area, what your ice accumulation grid would look like. And not only do you get the highlighting on the grids themselves, but if you look in the map, you'll see the similar highlighting where potential concern areas are greatest. Also new is the model certainty procedure. This one's located under the edit menu in GFE, and this could be helpful to figure out how much model spread is there amongst all the models you have in GFE for an element, and other statistical information like what is the highest member, what is the mean, the average, the standard deviation, all those different statistical measures. And again, this could be another thing that can help with targets of opportunity, with maybe elements with a little more spread to them. You can kind of try and tackle. Other changes. We've had issues since really 16.2.1 of failures with blend creation, and these are now fixed with this tech order. Aviation stuff. First is removal of categorized visibility and ceilings. In the past, say for example, your visibility would only go up to 7 miles. Now the visibility will go all the way up to 10. And there's some minor bug fixes in the TAF formatter, such as one of the things that will be included is with that categorizing. And Aviation Populate gets an updated to a sleeker new GUI. You'll notice that takes maybe just a short amount of time longer to load up, but the GUI is smaller and again it's sleeker. Now this was a concern that we've had for some time, which was the sleet produced due to isothermal type situations near 0C. This is now removed, but at some point we have to readdress this situation because it does happen. So again, that situation where max wet bubble off was between 0 and 1C, and that temperature is between 32 and the all rain threshold, that's usually 37. And then a couple blends are going to be removed. These were created to look at kind of some of the verification of how do our blends look / work without having the European in there. We are removing them at this time. So as we now approach the warm season, I want to give a little refresher to ForecastBuilder usage. Obviously, one of the big components of ForecastBuilder is stuff that deals with precipitation type, deal with these various environmental grids, the top-down ones. Well, now those won't come into play as much. Remember that those top-down grids will also only get produced if the coldest hourly temperature in your domain is less than or equal to 40 Fahrenheit. Something else that's nice, if you have no snow concerns, you can ignore the snow ratio grid entirely. Even if there's a value that ends up being greater than 0 for some reason and there's no snow concern, well, that snow ratio is not going to be applied. When you get into the create precipitation type step, you may be wondering, well, why should we even bother with this? Well, keep it going, keep running through it. Plus, it will help you when you get back towards winter. And NDFD requires, for completeness, snow amount and ice accumulation. And for the SUSE ITOs, GFE focals, remember that there's an option within the ForecastBuilder config file that you can switch your default for your office between Stratiform and Shower. A few other things here. The non-precipitation type step. We've already kind of talked about the thunder and severe probabilities. You can go back and reference that. However, do want to bring up about the frost. If you get into that situation, that frost tool that's default when you click frost will incorporate the temperature and relative humidity. The wind will be included in a future tech order. There are also multiple tools available for fog to work on. I know we've dealt with fog during the winter months, but be a nice reminder here for the fog. We've got the default that's put into ForecastBuilder, which uses dew point depression. There's also the pot fog from Visibility Smart Tool, which, by the way, if you turn the aviation side on to ForecastBuilder, will be the default. But that pot fog from Visibility uses your visibility grids to help place where the fog would be. And then there's also the procedures Pot Valley Fog and Pot Marine Fog under the Edit menu of GFE that you can use for local effects. For the ARX area, this is how we have the Pot Valley Fog configured for our various valleys that tend to like to fog. And the nice thing is with these valley and marine fog procedures is that they'll also update your visibility, cloud-based primary, and sky grids as well. And finally, the weather grid. Remember that the tornado, severe thunderstorm, flash flood, and flood watches, and dense fog advisories automatically get included into the weather grid. So like the tornado watch and severe thunderstorm watch, your T will go up to T+. Your flash flood and flood watch will ensure that heavy rain is mentioned, that possibility. Now you can adjust optional attributes for those aforementioned watches via the Step 6 Weather Creation GUI. Again, continue to provide feedback, as we've stated all along through the Forecast Builder experiment time, that your feedback will shape the future, as this potential national delivery mechanism for the MBM. And there's various different ways to provide feedback. You can go right to our VLab site, listed there on the screen. Send us an email. The feedback form continues. Feel free to provide stuff through there. And again, full documentation exists as well for reference. Thank you.